In this video, I'm going to teach you all how to make the ultimate Minecraft Bedrock creeper farm. This farm automatically produces a ton of gunpowder and XP. As you guys can see here, this farm quickly produces a ton of gunpowder. The materials list for this farm is in the description. The first step is to choose an area to make this farm at. You can make this farm over land, however I recommend that you make it over an ocean. By the way, make sure you don't make this farm in a river biome. That is because creepers don't spawn in river biomes. If you choose to make this farm over land, first build up about 130 blocks above land. If you choose to make this farm over an ocean, first go at least 130 blocks away from any land. After you're at least 130 blocks away from any land, go down to the ocean floor. Then place solid blocks from the ocean floor to the ocean surface. By the way, you can use any type of solid block. A couple examples of solid blocks are smooth stone or wood planks. Once you're done placing those blocks, build up 130 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Once you're done building up 130 blocks, go down here. Then place ladders from here to the top of this pillar. By making this farm high in the air, you'll prevent mobs from spawning below it while you use it. That will cause more creepers to spawn in the farm. Once you're done with that step, place 1 block over here and 2 blocks over here. Then place 5 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now fill in this outline with solid blocks. The next step is to replace these 4 blocks with hay bales. Those hay bales will prevent creepers from dying of fall damage. Now place a piston at each of these spots. Make sure those pistons face the correct directions, then place a redstone torch at each of these spots. After you have done that, place an observer at each of these spots. Make sure the top barrel of each observer faces the correct direction. It's really important that you place all your pistons, redstone torches, and observers correctly. The next step is to throw a trident at that piston. By the way, the trident can have any level of durability because it will never break in this farm. Now place a solid block at each of these spots. Then place a lever over here and flick it down. Once the pistons stop moving, flick it up. As you guys can see there, that should cause the pistons to move around infinitely. That will be the trident killer in this farm. It will automatically kill all the creepers. Now flick this lever down to shut the trident killer off. After you have done that, place another layer of blocks over here. Then place 4 glass blocks over here. At this point, go down here. Then count down 4 blocks from this spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then place 2 blocks over here, and 3 blocks over here. Now crouch down and place 2 chests over here. Then crouch down and place a hopper at this spot. Make sure the nozzle of that hopper is pointing downwards towards that chest. Now crouch down and place a rail over here. By the way, it does not matter what direction that rail is facing. Then place a minecart with hopper at this spot. Make sure that minecart with hopper is under that hay bale. Then place a block at each of these spots. That will be the collection system in this farm. The minecart with hopper will collect all the gunpowder. The gunpowder will then get funneled down by that hopper into that chest. At this point, place a torch at each of these spots. Those torches will prevent mobs from spawning on those areas. The next step is to place a solid block at each of these spots. The next step is to place 18 solid blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Once you have placed those 18 solid blocks, go down here. Then place 18 solid blocks at each of these other spots as well. After you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. The next step is to place a solid block at each of these spots. Then place 8 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now go to this spot. Then place 8 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now go to this corner. Then place 8 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 blocks over here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you have created that outline, fill it in with solid blocks. Once you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. The next step is to create a 1 block high wall around that platform. After you have created that wall, go to this corner. Then place 3 blocks over here, and 3 over here. Now do the same thing in that opposite corner. Place 3 blocks over here, and 3 over here as well. After you're done with that step, fill in that outer outline with solid blocks. Once you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. The next step is to create a 1 block high wall around this big platform. After you're done creating that wall, place stairs on the wall. After you're done with that step, create an infinite water source. To do that, go to inside, then place blocks like this. Now place water over here and water over here. By creating that infinite water source, you will be able to use 2 buckets to fill in all the water for this entire farm. Now place water in every stair. Once you're done with that step, the water should flow like that. As you guys can see there, the water should flow towards the center. It will push creepers that fall down here over to the kill chamber. At this point, fill in and break the infinite water source. The next step is to go to this corner. Then count out 2 blocks diagonally from this spot. 1, 2. Now place 4 solid blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then break these 3 blocks. After you have done that, place 8 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then place a block at each of these spots. Once you're done with that step, extend each of those spots by 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After you're done with that step, place a block at each of these spots. Once you're done with that step, there should be a 9 block wide and 9 block long grid platform that looks like that. The next step is to place a trapdoor in this corner. Then count 2 blocks to the right. 1, 2. Then place a button over here. By the way, it does not matter what direction the buttons face in this farm. Then count another 2 blocks to the right. 1, 2. Then place a trapdoor over here. Then count 2 blocks to the right again and place a button over here. Finally, count 2 blocks to the right and place a trapdoor at this spot. Once you have done that, count 2 blocks forward from this trapdoor. 1, 2. Then place a button over here. Now place trapdoors and buttons like this. As you guys can see there should be an alternating pattern of buttons and trapdoors. At this point, continue placing buttons and trapdoors in that pattern for the rest of this area. It's really important that you place the buttons and trapdoors at the correct spots. These buttons and trapdoors will prevent spiders from spawning in this farm. After you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. The next step is to place trapdoors around this platform. Make sure you open these trapdoors. These trapdoors will cause creepers to walk off into the water. That is because creepers see trapdoors as full blocks. Once you're done placing all those side trapdoors, place a trapdoor in each hole. Make sure to open the trapdoors in the holes as well. By the way, make sure you place each trapdoor on the same side of each hole. These trapdoors will cause creepers to walk off into the holes. That's because they see trapdoors as full blocks. This is one creeper spawning platform in this farm. The next step is to create another 3 creeper spawning platforms over there. At this point, create an outline for each of those platforms. To do that, first go over here. Then crouch down and place 2 blocks. Then break this block. Now place 8 blocks over here. And 8 blocks over here as well. Once you have done that, go over here. Then crouch down and place 2 blocks. Then break this block. Now place 8 blocks over here. And 8 blocks over here as well. After you have done that, place 3 blocks over here. Then break these 2 blocks. Now place 8 blocks over here. And 8 over here as well. At this point, finish making those platforms so they are exactly like that one. Once you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. It's really important that you placed all the buttons and trapdoors at the correct spots. Those 4 creeper spawning platforms will be the first creeper spawning layer in this farm. The next step is to create another creeper spawning layer over here. To do that, first crouch down and place 2 solid blocks. Then break this block. Now create another creeper spawning layer exactly like that one at this height. After you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. As you guys can see there, the second creeper spawning layer is exactly like the first one. By the way, make sure the trapdoors in the holes are all on the same side. The next step is to go back to the first creeper spawning layer. Then place a button above every block on this layer that does not have a trapdoor or button on it. For example, this block does not have a button or trapdoor on it, so I need to place a button over here. By placing these buttons, you'll prevent skeletons and zombies from spawning in this farm. That is because they are too tall to spawn under the buttons. Once you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. As you guys can see there is a button above every block on this layer that does not have a button or trapdoor on it. The next step is to create 4 more creeper spawning layers. Each creeper spawning layer should be 2 blocks above the layer below it. Also, place buttons on the bottom part of each layer at each of those spots. Once you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. As you guys can see there, those 4 creeper spawning layers are exactly like the layers below them. Also, they have buttons below them above every block that does not have a button or trapdoor on it. Also, make sure each creeper spawning layer is 2 blocks above the layer below it. The next step is to go over to this corner. Then crouch down and place 2 blocks over here. Then break this block. Now place 12 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 12 blocks over here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. After you have placed those blocks, repeat creating the outline in those 3 other corners. After you're done placing all those blocks, there should be an outline that looks like that. The next step is to fill in the outline with solid blocks. By placing these blocks, you'll create a roof that makes this farm dark. That will allow creepers to spawn when it is daytime. Once you're done with that step, cover the roof with slabs. These slabs will prevent mobs from spawning on top of the farm. That will cause more creepers to spawn in the farm. After you're done with that step, the farm should look like that. The next step is to go to the top layer of this farm. Then place a button above every block on this layer that does not have a button or trapdoor on it. For example, this block does not have a button or trapdoor on it, so I need to place a button over here. By the way, if you want to temporarily make it brighter, you can temporarily place some torches over here. Just make sure you break the torches later. Once you're done placing all those buttons, the farm should look like this. At this point, if you placed any torches up here, make sure you break them. This farm needs to be dark for creepers to spawn. I am now going to do a quick fly around so you can check and make sure I've made this farm correctly. By the way, this farm should be dark. The reason why it looks bright right now is because I have night vision. Over here, there should be the trident killer and collection system. Over here, there should be the center drop tube. Up here, there should be this water. Over here, there should be the creeper spawning layers. It's really important that you placed all the buttons and trapdoors at the correct spots. By the way, this is how dark the farm should normally be. I am now going to show you all how to use this creeper farm. To use it, first flick this lever up and stand over here. Then just wait. Creepers will spawn on the creeper spawning layers, then eventually walk off the layers into the water. They will then get pushed by the water stream into this trident killer. In the trident killer, they will get automatically killed. You will collect the XP over here and the gunpowder will get funneled into the collections chest. By the way, in this farm only creepers will spawn because of the layout of buttons and trapdoors on the creeper spawning layers. If you want to make this farm more efficient, you can hold a sword that is enchanted with looting 3. The looting 3 effect will be applied to the trident. This farm is a great quick and easy way to get a lot of gunpowder. Whenever you are done using this farm, flick this lever down to shut the trident killer off. You can collect the gunpowder down here. If this farm does not work for you, try switching your world difficulty to peaceful and then to hard. Also try setting your world simulation distance to 4 chunks. You can do that by leaving your world and going into the world settings. Also check to see if any mobs spawn below the farm while you are standing up here. If there are, you will need to cover the areas where they spawn on the land below the farm with torches. If mobs other than creepers spawn in this farm, make sure you place all the buttons and trapdoors at the correct spots. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this simple and efficient Minecraft Bedrock creeper farm. Please like, comment, subscribe, and check out more other Minecraft videos. Thanks for watching.